What the city is talking about. This is Montreal Now on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
That is James Mennie. He is over at the Montreal Gazette, and our feature is, of course, brought to you by the good folks at Guaranteed Industries. I made that up, but if Tom Mulcair was here, that's what would be going on right now. Jim, look, I see you have a headline today saying, and I had not heard this up until now, you have not one, not two, 9 Liberal MPs have now sent an open letter to caucus calling for an emergency meeting about the party's future. This is interesting because just moments ago we learned that Justin Trudeau will join supporters here tomorrow in Laval for an open Liberal fundraising event. So let's start off with your headline first, because as of last count, what are we, on Friday we had 2. One was Catherine McKenna. There was another sent, and now we're up to 9. So what's this telling us?
Well, we've got 9 MPs. One of them, we only know the idea of one of them, that's George Chahal, who's really, talk about being deep in the heart of Texas. He is the Liberal MP for a riding in Calgary. So I got to tell you, this guy is quite used to working in, how can I put it, a less than friendly environment. But all that said, he and his 8 colleagues are obviously just as able to read a really dirty bottom of a teacup as anybody else. Justin Trudeau's in huge trouble. His troubles are extending to the Liberal Party, and there are people, and I suspect there's more than 9, who want to sit down and get this thrashed out sooner rather than later. And it's interesting that, here's Justin Trudeau going around as if nothing is going on, as if the house is not on fire, as if the very future of his party is not in doubt, when in fact it very much is. So it's going to be interesting to see whether, the number of voices will grow. And when I say grow, I mean grow publicly. I think we may be on the verge of a palace revolution because I think for a lot of people who may have shared the original vision uttered by Justin Trudeau, they're not seeing that come to light. In fact, the only thing they're seeing coming to light is their inevitable defeat, a disaster which is really going to put the Liberal Party, the federal Liberal Party, back 10, 15 years. It's going to be as necessary for the next person who's got to clean up Justin Trudeau's mess to do as much work to scour whatever legacy he left in that party, as he did when he came in as leader, and made sure that this party was an absolute reflection of his own personality. So they know they're in trouble. Will Trudeau continue to ignore them? Will Trudeau continue to say, I'm in charge, and drive the bus off the cliff? We'll have to wait and see. But right now, when we go from, here's one former MP last week saying he might be interested in leadership. Here's Catherine McKenna, former cabinet minister, saying it's time for Justin Trudeau to go. Now we've got 9 MPs. I think the snowball's starting to grow, Aaron. The only question is, how long is it going to take for it to hit Justin Trudeau on the side of that mountain?
So, the question that gets asked now, Jim, and someone brought this up earlier on in the show, is let's say he announces he's decided to leave the party. Then the question becomes, well, who's going to replace him? Who becomes that next leader? And the answer to that is either, someone within the party or maybe like a Mark Carney. But would that even matter? Because, the argument is, if you just put anyone in there, how does that help the Liberal Party other than they got rid of Justin Trudeau?
Well, honestly, given the success that Pierre Poilievre has had in campaigning against Justin Trudeau personally, that would be a really, really good start. But you raise an interesting point, because the logistics are going to be very challenging. They would have to have some kind of leadership selection process. I'm not even sure one exists. I'm not even sure if Trudeau left a manual for that lying around, that someone would actually, after him, be leader of the Liberal Party. But they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to convince, even more importantly, people who could be good leadership candidates to step forward and understand that they are not being offered the captain's hat on the Titanic. So, it's going to be very, very challenging. I don't know, once again, if Justin Trudeau is going to pay one iota of attention to what is going on. I suspect that what we're talking about now may be raised tomorrow in Laval. But bottom line here is he is going to have to confront the fact that it's great to say, I'm staying on, I'm going to lead the party into the next election. The question, and I do so hope someone will ask it, is, you stay on as leader, can you in fact lead a party which is expressing increasingly and publicly its lack of confidence in you?
All right, so I don't want to belabor the point, but let me ask this, right? So Justin Trudeau, as you described it, Jim, you're right. And I saw an interview he did, I guess it was in Newfoundland yesterday during Canada Day festivities. And he did whatever he could to basically ignore the fact that, as you said, the house is burning around him. I'm wondering strategically, right? If you're a public relations company dealing with a situation like this and you're trying to advise a client what to do, what would he be doing? What would they be telling you that you should do?
Go. Leave. There's no way to say, leave with your head held high, hold the pressure, say that you think you've done your best, but it's become clear that you become a burden to the party. And, I got to tell you something, and I don't begrudge Justin Trudeau's appearance in Newfoundland, but, the ceremony he attended had nothing to do with Canada Day yesterday. I know we're thumping our chest a lot about Canada Day and how it's celebrated. He was in Newfoundland. That is, it's the commemoration of the Battle of the Somme, and this is a memorial service for what became the Royal Newfoundland Regiment that got wiped out in the first day of the Battle of the Somme. It was just a bloodbath. So I found it interesting that he wasn't in Ottawa, smiling with little kids with maple leaves on their faces, but attending a rather solemn, and I suspect as well, not so heavily staffed by the media event on Canada Day. But yeah, bottom line, the advice, anybody who is being real with him and not trying to soothe his ego is going to turn around and say, find an elegant, dignified way to leave, but don't let the door hit you on your way out.
As you say that, I can't help but think of the parallel that we're facing right now, but that the U.S. is facing with Joe Biden. He's kind of in the same situation, right? You're losing support. People just saw you fall apart at that debate and suggesting to him that maybe you should recognize there are people within that party you think you should leave too.
Well, I think, with all due respect, I don't think it's a very fair comparison because on the one hand, we're talking about Joe Biden having an off night in a debate and suddenly being told he's unfit for office, even though there were crickets when the guy he's running against was convicted on 34 counts of criminal activity.
Sure.
I mean, not anything. And the other thing I find intriguing is, and that's why, Aaron, we got to be careful. As far as I'm concerned, that country to the south of us now is this fantasy land where Don't Be Ridiculous got off the bus in 2016. But I don't know if you were able to read or hear about Justice Sonia Sotomayor's reaction to the Supreme Court ruling, giving him partial, or giving the president, this is the problem, giving the president partial immunity. Right now, as I speak to you, Joe Biden could turn around, order a Navy SEAL team to kill Donald Trump and get away with it. So I think sort of trying to say, well, we're in the same boat. No, we're not in the same boat. What's happening down south, my friend, is completely, yonder be dragons. We've never seen this before, and you literally don't know which way this is going to go. But the crazies are running the place. And to sort of compare our problem to what's happening in the States, I think is a bit misleading. But I will tell you that when it comes to a cult of personality, when it comes to ego, I think Donald Trump and Justin Trudeau could go head to head. I think that in the end, from what I've seen thus far, Justin Trudeau's main concern politically is the future of Justin Trudeau. End of story. And it goes about as far as that of Donald Trump.
Okay. To be fair, I wasn't comparing situations. I was comparing leaders of individual parties, and I think they're both right now trying to make decisions that will affect their future and their party's future, but we could leave it at that. You have Northvolt in your list today. I haven't heard even anyone talk about Northvolt. What's going on?
Well, the press had a very interesting report today, basically saying that because they had been very aggressive in terms of their expansion, they have to slow down. A major order fell through with BMW, and they may have to delay their development in Quebec. And it was radio silence till this afternoon, and Northvolt put out a statement basically confirming every syllable of the La Presse report and saying, yes, indeed, we were a bit aggressive. We've got to take a look. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't be talking about this except, we've got maybe $2 billion of our money wrapped up in that. And it's so funny because I like to give credit where credit's due. And you were the guy who said, man, I hope we're not, we're putting all our number on one number, putting all our money on one number on the roulette table because we don't know which way the whole battery industry is going to go. Right now, it seems a lot less certain than it did when Francois Legault and Justin Trudeau were shoveling tons of our money towards Northvolt. So I hope it works out, but right now, I don't like that the wobbliness of that basket that we put all of our eggs into.
Yeah, but we're stuck, Jim, right? We can't even go anywhere on this. We're done. Our money's sunk.
Yeah, I know, and it's amazing. We keep doing the same thing over and over again. We keep electing the same people who make the same mistake over and over again. I think it's just, of all the things that, just astounds me after all these years, the fact that people are not up in arms when some politician who's got a job for the next 4 years turns around and says, I'm giving $2 billion to this company against the possibility it's going to do well. That's where we are, and that's real money. And if we didn't learn our lesson with Bombardier, I guess we're never going to learn it, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of people may have forgotten that whole, Bombardier debacle from not that many years ago. But there you go, Jim. Thank you so much. You have a good one.
Adamant.